Hey folks, Tito, Jeff Thidoff here with your Black and Gold Blitz. Thanks for tuning in. Go to fanstreamsports.com. We got an Ohio page specifically designed for us. Check that out. Not technically Ohio, but the Steelers are still a lot of Steelers fans in Ohio. So let's do that. You can download the app for free at the App Store. Apple and Android users both can get it there. And you get round-the-clock programming, all the stuff we do at FanStream Sports, adding lots of new content every single day. Go check that out. Also, go to the Facebook page, FanStream Sports Facebook page. Check us out there. Like, listen, subscribe to all of our podcasts. Like I say, we've got some really good content coming out, and we keep adding things every single day. All right, let's talk Steelers now. Coming off an important 34-32 win over the Jets and Justin Fields. And we'll talk more about the Jets game and kind of where they're at right now. And then before the Seahawks game, we'll preview that. But I want to focus more on what's going on in the last few days or so. But less than about like right before, almost less than 24 hours before the Steelers took on the Jets, Cam Hayward had his deal reworked to where there's another $3 million in incentives he can get this season. Big deal for the Steelers. He could get up to $18 million this year. He was supposed to get 14.75. So he wanted to renegotiate his deal. He did it. He was back. He played. Didn't make a huge impact necessarily statistically, but having him out there, I think, was a big boost for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, let's break down this game. The Jets really torched the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 182 yards on the ground, 4.7 yards per attempt, and they also had 23 first downs. The Steelers only sacked Justin Fields one time. He passed for 212 yards, rushed for 48 yards on 12 carries. Breece Hall went for 107 yards on 19 carries. Garrett Wilson, 7 passes, 95 yards. 7 receptions. I said 95 yards. He caught 77 passes. So I sat in this chair the day before the game and told you I believe Pittsburgh might have the best defense in the league. I'll stand by that. A few things to consider. Cam Hayward, I know he doesn't need a full training camp to get ready for the season, but he needed more of a training camp than he got to be his best possible self against the Jets. Nick Herbig and potential rookie stud Derek Harmon were both out. That made a difference. I saw Justin Fields play in college and always believed he was going to be a solid NFL quarterback. He got a raw deal in Chicago, constant rotation of coaching and offensive coordinators and whatnot. And so he never really got a fair shake, I don't think, in Chicago. In Pittsburgh, last season, I think he should have been allowed to start more of the season. He went out there and wasn't put up great numbers, but the Steelers were winning, and they pulled the plug on him and bring in Russell Wilson, and that was it for him. So now he's reunited with former OSU teammate Garrett Wilson, and Fields is better, I think, than most people think he is. He's better than the stats he's put up so far in his career. A lot of different things. There were a couple of players out for the Steelers, a great rushing attack by the Jets, and then the Justin Fields, great performance. That's what a lot of it. So I know the Steelers defense should have played better. I would have liked them to play better, but I'm not sitting here willing to say the Steelers defense is not in the top half. Like I said, I think it could still be either a top defense or maybe a top 5 defense in the league this year. So they did have an injury, though. Deshaun Elliott suffered a knee injury, safety Deshaun Elliott, and it looks like they signed Jabril Peppers on Wednesday. So we'll see. He'll be out. How long Elliott's going to be out for, but he's certainly going to miss the home opener against Seattle coming up this weekend. Let's slide over to the offense because this was really a big show, a big stat for me. But the star of the show was Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 30, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, 22 of 30, 244, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Am I surprised? No. Well, I am surprised he was this good. But I'm banging the drum all offseason, preseason, whenever he signed it was. He was going to be better than he ever was with the Jets. An aging quarterback suffered a torn Achilles, missed it a whole season, comes back maybe a little bit too soon, and struggled for 7 games last year with the Jets. He then played very well in the last 10 games, 18 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. And now he's a couple of years removed from the injury. I know he's on pace for 68 touchdown passes. I love doing that stat. That's unrealistic. But he is an upgrade over Russell Wilson from last season. On the negative side, Rodgers did get sacked 4 times, and the running game produced just 53 yards on 20 carries. Aaron Rodgers said that his mobility was limited because his back was a little bit tight during that game. He said, I don't think I was moving that well, so I think I ran kind of into at least 1 or 2 sacks. I've got to do a better job using my legs. I might be old, but I still feel like I can move around pretty good, and I wasn't moving the way I usually like to move. So, Aaron Rodgers, the 4 sacks, he didn't blame it on the offensive line. He did get, like I say, he got hit a few times too on top of that. So, the offensive line has to be better. So Rodgers may say that, and he may believe that he kind of ran into a couple of sacks, but you can't discount the fact that the offensive line also did not do much for the running game. Jaylen Warren, 11 carries, 37 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 7 carries, 19 yards. Rodgers, 1 for -1. Ricky Caleb-Johnson, 1 for -2. We saw more Kenneth Gainwell than I expected. I thought we'd see more Caleb Johnson, but an early fumble on a kick return, I think is what it was, but and Tomlin didn't really use him after that. But this team has to have more success running the ball if it wants to play meaningful games deep into the season. In order, I would feature Jaylen Warren, Caleb Johnson, then Gainwell. I'm not saying Johnson would be better than Gainwell, but his ceiling is much higher. Gainwell is 5'9", 200 pounds. Caleb Johnson is 6'1", 224. Give me the 6'1", 224 running back every day of the week. Caleb Johnson has talent. He's got to protect the ball, no doubt about that. But he has a much higher ceiling than Kenneth Gainwell does. We know what Kenneth Gainwell can do. We've seen his career so far. But I think that I want Caleb Johnson to be more involved in this offense. One of the bigger disappointments is left tackle Broderick Jones, the 2023 first-round pick. He's a guy the Steelers targeted. They traded up to get him. Jones has to be better, where the Steelers need to find a better option if Pittsburgh wants to win its first postseason game since 2016. I like Jones coming in. For whatever reason, it's not working out. He's struggling, and the Steelers' offensive line has to be better. They're fine at the center position. They've got to be good building out from there. I'm not saying Jones is a lost cause, but he has not shown the progression I would like to see out of him as a 2023 first-round pick. Let's close with a couple of bright spots. The receivers and special teams. The search for a number 2 wide receiver option is not finished, but Calvin Austin III hauled in 4 passes for 70 yards and a touchdown. DK Metcalf went 4 for 83. Is Calvin Austin III the number 2 receiver now? Are we still looking at maybe a tight end being the de facto number 2 receiver? Because Jonnu Smith had 5 catches, scored a touchdown. The 5 catches are only for 15 yards. But I like him quite a bit. I think they're going to try to creatively use Smith in different situations. Calvin Austin, though, he certainly made his case for being the number 2 guy. I'm still not convinced he will be the number 2 guy for the season. I don't know if they'll make a trade. There's all kinds of talk around the Tyreek Hill thing in Miami, and will they trade him? And would Pittsburgh be an option? Would they want him? Anytime, look, the OBJ talk has died down, which is fine. But if the Steelers are going to go all in, if they have an opportunity to get somebody they know is an upgrade, they probably need to do it. I'm not convinced Hill's an upgrade. Hill has lost a step, lots of off-the-field stuff going on. Not a great teammate, not a great locker room guy, but I trust in Tomlin, I trust in the Steelers culture that if they make the decision to go with him, to go get Tyreek Hill, they must feel very confident that all this stuff surrounding him, all the drama surrounding him is not going to be an issue in Pittsburgh. We'll see what happens to that one. The special teams, look, I'll just bring up the Chris Boswell thing. The fact he kicked that 60-yard field goal, career-long at his age, kicking a career-long field goal at his age is pretty damn impressive. When you look at how other teams fell short this week, the last week, the Falcons in their game against Tampa Bay, missing field goal. The Browns doing Browns things, missing an extra point and a field goal to Cincinnati and losing by 1 point. You can't underestimate the importance of Chris Boswell to this team. That was a tough field goal last week he had to make on the road in New York. Boswell is a clutch kicker now. I should say now. He's always been a clutch kicker. I love Boswell. But him making that field goal last week from 60 to win the game was significant. The Steelers needed to win this game. Now, this week they host Seattle. We'll talk more about that coming up. and kind of break that down on what the Steelers will be looking to do maybe, and what I think the prediction of how I think the game will go. We'll do that next time, though. Follow me on Twitter @ThatHappens. FanStreamSports.com. Go to the webpage. FanStream Sports Facebook page. Go to that as well. Download the app. It's free for Apple and Android users. It's FanStream Sports. I'm @ThatHappens on Twitter. Would love to hear from you. Steelers hopefully going to win this weekend at Seattle. We'll talk, or home against Seattle. We'll talk more about that later on in the week. Have a great day, folks.